Looking at the rising crude prices, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today took a top-level meeting with the Finance Ministry officials and the Petroleum Ministry officials. All the secretaries from the Petroleum Ministry, along with Finance Ministry, Revenue Secretary, Expenditure Secretary and Economic Affairs Secretary were all present at today's top-level meeting, which was held at 3 p.m. at the Parliament House itself. Now, we do know that India imports 85% of its crude oil requirements from various countries like UAE, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. It also imports approximately only 1% of its oil needs from Russia, which is currently into war with Ukraine. But even despite that it imports only 1%, the imports of oil have definitely been impacted. Now, looking at the rise in crude prices, which have surged over 4%, and in retail terms, we have seen 12 increases in the retail prices over the last 2 weeks. Now, India has multiple options before it. One is an excise duty cut if it wants to reduce the retail prices, like it has already done some time back. But despite that, it has not much affected the retail prices because of the continuously rising crude oil prices, because of the global supply chains that have been impacted. Now, we also do know that India also has an option of going for a rupee-ruble trade and increasing its imports of oil from Russia, which does not want to cut down on its oil exports. Now, India has to take a decision whether to go ahead with increased oil imports from Russia, going for a rupee-ruble trade in view of the US sanctions. Now, India has tough decisions ahead of it that it has to make, either to go for another excise duty cut, or it can go for an increased oil imports from Russia at a rupee-ruble trade. Also, now, if I tell you what constitutes these oil prices, that the retail prices that the consumer pays, apart from the crude oil prices, what is added to this cost is the state taxes, that is VAT, plus the central excise duty. Now, since crude oil, that is the petroleum diesel, is not under GST, India still implements excise duty and VAT. They are separate levies of the state and center on oil, which multiplies the retail prices that the end consumer ends up paying. Now, whether India asks the states to reduce their state levies, whether it goes for central excise cuts, or whether it looks for other sources of oil, increased oil imports from other countries, including Russia, it will have to take a tough call.